This coffee promises to improve your golf game. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I've got some coffee products in front of me, and I want to tell you a little story about them because right here you might be able to see that guy is Phil Mickelson. And you probably heard of Phil Mickelson. He is a golfer extraordinaire. He's been around a long time. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. And in fact, he's gotten kind of controversial lately, and his stock has been rising for me because of that. So I have actually been looking for some Phil Mickelson merch, and I found this. He actually doesn't sell anything but this product here, and this is by For Wellness. I believe it's forwellness.com. And what I realized here is that Phil has some interests that are similar to mine: golf and coffee. Now, if you're like me and you drink a lot of coffee, I was always wondering, is there something I can add to it to make it taste a little better? Is there something I can add to it to make it a little healthier? Coffee isn't actually that bad for you. In fact, at one point I started to try to wean myself off it and get onto tea. But actually, a lot of doctors have weighed in and said there's a lot of health benefits. Now, Phil Mickelson, trying to get himself in peak physical shape, has actually come up with this gentleman here, Dave Phillips, and they have created this supplement to coffee, which is supposed to add a lot of stuff. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the ingredients that they've included here, but I want to share with you the things that it promises to do. Increase metabolism, promote skin and joint health. That's actually pretty important when you're playing golf. Boost hydration, pretty important. Reduce inflammation, oh yeah. And improve focus. Huh? Wait, what was that again? Ha ha! Improve focus right there. So I thought this little supplement that they have made here to add to coffee could be very helpful. Now, I wanted to show this to you because I can't really demonstrate if it's going to work. Even over time, it's probably going to be a little hard to put your finger on. But I wanted to show it to you. But I have a couple of Panda cups here because I wanted to show you what coffee looks like without it, what coffee looks like with it, and then taste test the two to see what the difference in taste is. Now, before I get into all of this stuff, I want to show you that they actually have a couple of things here. So one, this box of the coffee additive are single servings. So you could have these little pouches in your desk at your office. You can tear them off right there. And I think it's just going to be enough to put into your coffee, say if you're at work and you don't want to have your big bag here. But this is the cheaper way to buy it. I think it makes each serving about half as expensive as it is in the actual individual serving pocket here. And I just want to open this up here and see what we get. And inside we have powder. It actually looks a lot like hot chocolate powder, and then there is a little plastic tablespoon in there. So I think you just want to put one scoop into a normal cup of coffee and stir it up, but that's what it looks like. In terms of smell, it actually smells really good. It smells like almond, cinnamon, and milk. We'll see what it tastes like, but if it tastes anything like it smells, it could be pretty good. Now, the last thing I want to show you here is a K-cup. So they do have coffee in a K-cup. And while this says Arabica coffee, which is very popular, so you can brew up your coffee here and then add your For Wellness supplement to it. All right, so into the science part of this experiment. I have brewed myself here a pot of some of my favorite coffee. This is Jesse James brew. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pour myself what I think about 12 ounces, I don't know, 10 ounces, somewhere in there. Both of these look just like you might expect. Dark coffee. If I were just holding it here, you might say that's Coca-Cola, but coffee steaming hot. Now, what I want to do here is I'm going to use the scooper, one scoop of this, and I'm just going to go ahead and plop that in there. I mean, the smell right now is like apple cinnamon. And I will also say, it takes just a little while to get all the powder dissolved here, so probably is not a problem to go with quite a tall cup of coffee. Right off the bat, I think you can tell the difference here in color. This definitely looks like a heavy creamed, heavy sugared coffee. I'm going to go ahead and just take a sip of the black coffee. I drink this pretty often, so I'm pretty sure I know what to expect. Hot, smooth, delicious, maybe just a little fruity. It's pretty good. Now, I thought I would try it with the For Wellness supplement in it. Wow. It's a pretty big difference. And I also want to show you, it might not be that easy to see. I'm glad I put this in glass. But I do have some sediment kind of floating around in there. I can't detect it when I drink it. It's almost like the sediment that you would see in a natural apple cider kind of floating at the top. But once you drink it, you don't feel it. You think you might taste some of that pulp. I don't see that at all. So I think some of the stuff is just separating. It doesn't dissolve quite as quickly as some of the other things. And I believe even in the literature I was reading, there are some things like, I don't know, collagen, don't quote me on that are proteins that just don't dissolve as quickly as others. So don't be surprised if you see something that looks like sediment in there. Wow. It definitely adds a lot more fruity flavor. There's also a little bit of like nutty flavor in there. And like I said, I definitely can kind of taste and feel that cinnamon. In some ways, it's kind of like 1 part apple cider to me, just in the way it looks and the way it tastes and smells. It definitely has a much more fruity punch to it. Now, I will say, what's interesting about this is that if you like black coffee and you put this in there, it's going to dress it up like there are other things. And I would say maybe like a creamer. So if you are someone who puts creamer or milk or equivalent into your coffee, you might like this just the way it is. If you are someone who doesn't really like black coffee because maybe it's a little too bitter, a little too punchy for you, this might just tone it down enough. Now, I also will say that I know that Phil Mickelson adds some other stuff to this to make it even more drinkable for him. That includes adding some pink sea salt, some almond milk, as well as some honey. And now, all of those things, I bet, would make this, oh man, like a decadent gourmet store-bought coffee. But I think I was wondering, if you add a scoop of this, is it like dressing up your black coffee with cream and sugar? And I would say it's kind of like that, but a little bit more nutty and a little bit more fruity than cream and sugar. Now, I also will say that if you want to add some of those other things, like sweetener or honey or sugar or something like that, it's probably going to taste very good too. It's probably going to make it very, very sweet. So if you're the person that likes cream and milk with a little bit of coffee, then adding cream and sugar in this is going to get you somewhere like, I don't know, a mocha or a macchiato, something like that. But as it stands, this is very drinkable to me, and I don't really feel like I need much else in it. To me, it's always exciting, and it's a really hard task to make something that's supposed to be good for you and tastes pretty good. That's excellent. I can see me adding this to all my coffee, and I can see me putting something like this in my desk. Now, I also want to show you that they do have a little bit of merch. I thought that this tumbler, I think it's 30 ounces, pretty big, was really cool. It's white and has golf ball dimples. So if you want to pick this up on their site, you can obviously get it with Phil Mickelson there, and it says Coffee for Wellness. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about using that, and it has a polycarbonate top up there so that you can use it for traveling. But man, if you're a golfer, I think this alone is just really, really cool. However, I will say that on their website they had a special, so I don't remember what it included, and they may change it a little bit, but if I added K-Cups to my order, they would include this, I think, 20-ounce tumbler. And again, just beautiful matte black finish, polycarbonate top on the top too, a little bit smaller, probably a little bit more the right size for most people's coffee habits. But again, Phil branded merch right there. So if you're drinking black coffee and you want to dress it up with something that tastes good, but is also pretty healthy and might just help your golf game, well, 4 Wellness powder is definitely something that I'm going to be using a lot. Because the coffee gets me up and going, but the 4 Wellness powder will help me keep going longer. So if you want to stay healthy, stay comfortable, stay caffeinated, and do some golfing, I'll put a link to this in the description below. Peter Von Panda. Out.
We can discover more and explore so much deeper. We can live better than ever thanks to Peter. Peter Von Panda. Peter Von Panda.
This coffee, that could actually be the name of a new game. Golf and coffee.